All right, ready to dive in. Today, we're tackling the Athena Handbook.
Oh, yeah.
This thing's a beast, huh? Packed with info.
Definitely comprehensive.
Innovative products, tissue culture,
Mm-hmm.
lighting optimization.
Yeah.
Heck, even designing a whole irrigation system.
It's all in there.
But no worries, we're here to break it down.
Yeah.
You'll walk away feeling like an Athena Pro, I promise.
It's interesting, this handbook, it's not just pushing products. It's like a deep dive into the science.
I see that.
The real science behind growing cannabis.
Right. And how to, actually use that knowledge.
Practical application, that's key.
So, okay, first up, who are the masterminds behind all this?
It's a good place to start.
The handbook introduces Chris Durand. He's Athena's director of manufacturing.
I know, Chris.
Oh, you do?
Great guy.
Yeah.
Super passionate about formulation.
That's what I read. Goes all the way back to his UC Davis days.
Back when he was whipping up little batches of fertilizer.
For his own plants?
Just for his own cannabis.
Exactly. Then it, evolved.
Oh, yeah.
Led research on over 400 projects.
Wow.
Eventually, that became the foundation for, well, the whole Athena line.
Makes sense, though, right? When you think about it.
In what way?
Athena was born from, a real need
Okay.
to solve actual problems that growers were facing.
Not just, some corporate scheme.
Exactly. And speaking of expertise,
Yep.
the handbook also mentions Dr. Bruce Bugbee.
Oh, Dr. Bugbee.
Yeah.
Legend.
Right, director of the Crop Physiology Lab at Utah State University.
34-plus years of experience.
And Athena partners with his team.
To stay on the cutting edge.
That's what sets them apart, honestly, that dedication to research and development.
I was reading they've poured millions into R&D.
Yep, constantly testing, refining, improving.
And this is where it gets really interesting.
Uh-oh.
They've got these R&D rooms.
Oh, yeah.
Inside a Jungle Boys facility.
No way.
In Los Angeles.
That's incredible.
Products are being tested under real grow conditions.
With all the different lights, different mixes.
Not just lab data. It's real-world feedback.
Makes a huge difference.
No wonder they're coming out with products like the TC Kit,
Oh, yeah, the TC Kit.
the VP Dome,
And Fade. We'll get to those.
all game changers. But first, can we talk tissue culture?
Sure.
It's always felt a bit intimidating, to be honest.
I get it. Tissue culture has had this reputation.
You need a fancy lab, right?
Yeah, only for big commercial operations.
The Athena Tissue Culture Kit, that changes things.
It does. Developed with Jumbo Boys in their LA lab.
So they're making it accessible.
To the average grower. Exactly.
Wow.
One of the coolest things, the portable flow hood,
That's why I want to
creates a controlled environment, minimizes contamination.
So you don't need a full lab setup,
No,
just to protect your genetics and produce clean plants.
that's the goal. And it comes with instructions, videos. They walk you through the whole process step by step.
That's huge. It's like you don't need to be a scientist anymore.
Exactly.
Okay, so clean plants, check. But what about harvest time?
Harvest time.
The handbook talks about fade.
Fade.
And I'm curious, how does it change the whole flushing thing?
Oh, yeah, good question. Traditional flushing, it can stress your plants.
I've heard.
Suddenly removing calcium, it shocks them.
Yeah.
Nutrient lockout, even bud rot, can be a risk.
Really?
Fade is different. It's designed to improve quality without the risks.
So it's gentler, but does it really work?
Yeah.
Better buds.
They did the testing,
At Jungle Boys.
At Jungle Boys, yeah. Large scale, compared side by side.
Right.
Multiple strains, multiple cycles, more terpenes, more cannabinoids, no downsides.
That's amazing. Okay, so we've talked products, but now let's zoom out a little.
Okay, bigger picture.
The handbook has a whole section on precision irrigation.
Precision irrigation.
Gotta be honest, I'm a bit lost on what that even means.
So it's about optimizing your water and nutrient delivery.
Okay.
They call it crop steering.
Crop steering.
Yeah, it's like using strategic stress
Stress.
to encourage either vegetative growth or generative growth.
So you're manipulating the plant's growth with water.
That's the idea. And there's this three-phase approach.
Okay.
Initial soak, P2, and P3. Each phase, guides your crop.
To optimal growth, max quality.
And get this, smaller pot sizes. Key part of the strategy.
Smaller pots. Why?
Smaller pots. More control over the drying cycle.
Ah.
You can fine-tune the frequency, the amount of nutrients.
Overwatering.
Exactly. Just what they need when they need it.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Speaking of fine-tuning, lighting, right.
Lighting is everything.
The handbook dives deep into HID, LED.
Those are your main options.
It can get a bit, Another language sometimes.
Oh, tell me about it.
All those terms. EPR, EPPF, EPPFD.
And don't forget EDLI.
Right. What even is all that?
Well, the handbook breaks it down, thankfully.
So, it's more than just picking a bolt.
Way more. It's about understanding those terms to get the most out of your setup.
Makes sense.
They give you optimal levels for each stage of growth.
Like from clone to veg to flower.
Yep. And layout strategies, spacing, avoiding hot spots.
Right. Even light distribution.
For both HPS and LED.
I think I saw something about dimming LEDs too.
Oh, yeah. To adjust the intensity at different canopy distances.
Pretty advanced stuff. Okay, so we've got precision irrigation, optimized lighting. What else makes the ideal environment?
Well, cleanliness.
Oh, of course.
You can't forget that.
Cleanliness is next to godliness, my grandma used to say.
Absolutely. Keeping pathogens out, that's crucial.
And the Athena Clean line.
Right, their weapon.
It's a three-part system.
Reset, parafoam, and renew.
Clean, disinfect, sanitize every nook and cranny.
Surfaces, irrigation, the whole shebang.
Each one has a specific job, too, like a team.
Exactly. Reset. Antimicrobial powerhouse. Parafoam. Superior sanitation, longer coverage.
And renew.
Renew is all about removing that biofilm and mineral buildup.
To restore the irrigation system.
Makes it like new.
Love it. And what about that reset foamer system?
Oh, yeah, that thing is cool.
What's the deal with that?
Well, it makes applying it super easy.
Okay.
Less handling of concentrated chemicals.
Safer.
Smart.
Yeah.
Okay, clean grow rooms, healthy plants. Now what?
Where to next?
I'm kind of excited about the VP dome.
The VP dome.
Especially for propagation.
Oh, it's a game changer.
They call it the most efficient way to clone, right?
That's their claim?
Is it that fabric rack cover?
Yeah, the one that gets rid of individual domes.
That's what I thought. Streamlines everything.
It really does.
But do they, tell you how to use it?
Oh, yeah. They break it down. Step-by-step VP dome procedure.
Nice.
Ventilation, inspection, hardening off, even feeding schedules.
Wow.
Takes all the guesswork out.
And of course, they have the Athena Cuts rooting gel. You know it. Formulated for fast root generation and growth.
Giving those cuttings a head start.
Exactly. This handbook? Seriously impressive.
They really do think of everything. Okay, we've got cloning figured out. What about mother plants?
The foundation.
I bet the handbook has some wisdom on that.
Oh, tons. First off, choosing the right plants.
Makes sense.
Got to start with the best.
Strongest genetics.
At least 60 days old, but no more than 185. And obviously no signs of stress, disease, any of that.
Solid foundation.
Exactly. And they give specific tips for taking cuttings.
Oh, like what?
Like focus on upper middle branches. Cut at a 45-degree angle. Collect in groups. Less handling time.
Every detail matters.
It does. And keeping those cuttings hydrated, super important.
How do they recommend doing that?
Submerged in solution. They even recommend a specific setup.
Really?
500 ml cup filled with their mother recipe solution. Bottom 1.5 to 4 centimeters of the stem submerged. 25 cuts per cup for 1 to 2 hours.
Wow, they are specific. It's incredible how much thought they put into everything.
It's impressive.
Every single aspect of the process.
They really do. It's not just giving you tools, it's giving you knowledge.
And confidence.
That's it, to use those tools effectively. Welcome back to our deep dive. We're picking up where we left off with this Athena handbook.
It's crazy how much detail there is. I mean, it's really clear that Athena wants to empower growers.
Absolutely. They go beyond just selling products. It's all about sharing knowledge.
Right. Like with Roach from Jungle Boys, I loved his story, starting as a butt tender and working his way up.
He's a great example of how dedication and a thirst for knowledge can take you far in this industry.
Now he manages Jungle Boys in both LA and Florida. That's amazing.
And think about it. His experience has been so valuable to Athena.
Oh, absolutely. He's helped them refine their program based on real-world insights from Jungle Boys facilities.
And they even quote him in the handbook saying, using Athena since its inception has been an amazing overall experience.
You can tell they value the feedback from growers on the front lines.
It makes everything feel so much more relatable. It's not just some lab-created formula. It's been tested and proven by real cultivators.
Exactly. And it builds trust. I mean, you see guys like Roach having success and you think, hey, maybe I can achieve that too.
Right. And the grower profiles really highlight the diversity of the Athena community.
I was thinking the same thing. It's not just one type of grower,
You've got teams like Big Bang Creations in Spain.
right, who are killing it in a market that's still figuring out regulations.
It's super inspiring to see growers from all over the world pushing boundaries.
Definitely highlights the global reach of cannabis and the shared passion that connects us.
Speaking of connecting back to the basics, their pro line and blended line.
Oh, yeah, those are like the foundation of the whole Athena system.
Exactly. So let's break those down a bit because I think they're essential to understanding how it all works.
Okay, so the Pro line seems to be all about precision and control.
Mm.
Would you say that's accurate?
Totally. It's a two-part system, 100% soluble.
So you can be sure you're getting those exact nutrient ratios.
Right, and no clogging or residue buildup.
Clean and precise. I like it.
What else? Well, you can use it with so many different setups, from hand watering to a dosatron or even something like Netaflex.
That's great. So it's adaptable to different grow styles and scales.
Exactly. They've made it super versatile.
And then we have the blended line, which I'm guessing might be a bit simpler.
You got it. The blended line is all about making things easy.
So less measuring and mixing?
Exactly. Perfect for beginners or anyone who prefers a more streamlined approach.
But you're not sacrificing quality with the blended line, right?
Not at all. The handbook actually emphasizes that they use the same high-quality ingredients in both lines.
That's good to know. So you're not getting a lesser product just because it's easier to use?
Nope. And they have those detailed feed programs for both lines.
Oh, yeah, those are great. It's like having a nutrient roadmap for every stage of growth.
Seriously takes the guesswork out of feeding.
I remember when I first started, I was always second-guessing myself with nutrients.
I feel that, but with these programs, you know exactly what to do and when to do it.
And they even go into detail about mixing and validating your solutions.
Like I said, they've thought of everything.
So we've got the Pro line, the blended line, and the feed programs. What else is in the handbook in terms of nutrients?
Well, they don't stop there. They emphasize things like proper substrate sizing, pre-soaking, and flushing techniques.
Right, because it's all connected. It's not just about the nutrients themselves.
It's about the environment you're creating for your plants to thrive.
And they provide guidelines for each stage of growth.
Yep. For example, they recommend a substrate EC of 3.5 to 4.0 for coco during pre-soak.
Those numbers are so helpful, it's like they're giving you the keys to success.
And they recommend an EC of less than 0.1 for flushing.
Okay, noted they don't leave you hanging with vague instructions.
And speaking of being specific, they have a whole section dedicated to EC and ppm.
Oh, yeah, those can be tricky for some growers.
Definitely. I remember when I was starting out, I was constantly mixing them up.
What is the difference again? It's like electrical conductivity versus parts per million.
Right. EC measures the concentration of salts in your nutrient solution.
And that tells you how much food is available to your plants.
Exactly. So understanding those measurements is crucial for preventing nutrient issues.
It's all about finding that sweet spot for your plants.
And to make things even easier, they even provide a conversion chart.
So you can switch between EC and ppm depending on your preference or equipment.
They've really simplified things, which is great for both new and experienced growers.
Before we move on from nutrients, can we circle back to fade for a second?
Of course, it's a fascinating product.
I'm still intrigued by the whole idea of rethinking the flushing process.
Well, it's not so much about eliminating flushing entirely. It's about doing it in a way that benefits the plant.
Okay, so reducing the risk of bud rot while actually enhancing terpenes and cannabinoids?
Right. And they explain how to use it alongside your regular Pro Bloom nutrients during those final weeks of flowering.
Interesting. So it's not a complete replacement. It's more like a strategic adjustment.
Exactly. And they have this clear chart that shows the fade application rate at each stage of flowering.
So simple and easy to follow. I love it.
It's all about providing growers with the knowledge they need to make informed decisions.
Speaking of making decisions, have we talked about foliar feeding?
Not yet, but it's definitely a valuable technique.
The handbook emphasizes a proactive approach to plant health.
And foliar spraying is a key part of that strategy.
So it's not just about feeding through the roots. It's about nourishing the plants directly through their leaves.
Exactly. It's like giving them an extra boost of nutrients and support.
Okay, so they introduced their IPM and Stack products, both for foliar application, right?
Right. IPM stands for Integrated Pest Management, and it's like a protective shield for your plants.
So it helps prevent those pesky bugs and pathogens.
Exactly. They recommend spraying IPM twice a week, and you can increase it to 3 times a week if you have an infestation.
Makes sense. It's like boosting your plant's immune systems.
And then there's Stack, which is all about maximizing those yields.
So IPM is the defender and Stack is the enhancer.
I like that analogy.
It's easy to remember.
And here's a cool tip. They mention you can actually mix IPM and Stack together.
Oh, that's awesome. So you can streamline your foliar spraying routine.
Exactly. And they emphasize even distribution, avoiding peak light hours, and using RO water.
That makes sense. You want to create the optimal conditions for absorption without risking any leaf burn.
They even suggest letting the leaves dry completely before the lights go out.
It's all about paying attention to those details.
Speaking of details, the handbook has a whole section on maintaining a clean grow environment overall.
Right. Cleanliness is next to godliness, as they say.
Absolutely essential for healthy plants and successful harvests.
And we've talked about their clean line already, the three-part system with reset, parafoam, and renew.
Right, but they go beyond just product descriptions in this section.
Oh yeah, they provide specific procedures for using each product effectively.
Like they walk you through cleaning your irrigation lines with Renew.
And they even mention that for older, dirtier lines, you might need to repeat the process a few times.
They want to make sure you're getting that deep clean.
And then there's the reset foamer system. Did they provide instructions for that too?
Oh yeah, they break it down step by step.
So you know exactly how to fill the water tank, connect the air compressor, and coat everything with foam.
And they even recommend a dwell time of 30 to 60 minutes to let the reset and parafoam do their thing.
It's like a recipe for a sparkling, clean grow room.
Exactly. And once you've got that clean environment, you can focus on propagation and mother plant maintenance.
Okay, so back to the VP dome. I love that fabric rack cover. It's such a simple yet brilliant idea.
It streamlines the whole cloning process.
And they provide guidelines for creating the optimal environment inside the VP dome.
Yep. They recommend burping it for 5 to 20 minutes each day for ventilation and humidity control.
Makes sense. And they mention that in colder environments, you might need to burp it twice a day to manage condensation.
It's all about adapting the technique to your specific needs.
I love that they anticipate potential challenges and offer solutions.
And they also cover their Athena Cuts rooting gel, explaining how it promotes rapid root development.
Right. That stuff is like magic for cuttings.
It gives them that extra boost to get those roots going.
So we've got cloning down. What about those mother plants?
Well, we talked about selecting the best mothers, but they go into detail about taking cuttings.
Like techniques to protect the mother plant and ensure healthy cuttings.
Exactly. They emphasize focusing on the upper and middle branches, cutting at a 45-degree angle.
Right. Maximizing that surface area for root development.
And collecting those cuttings in groups to minimize stress.
It's about treating those mother plants with care.
And ensuring their long-term health and productivity.
Okay. And they even have a diagram that shows the ideal pattern for taking cuttings.
It helps you visualize the process and maintain a balanced shape for your mother plant.
It's incredible how much thought they've put into every single detail.
And they even remind you to keep those freshly cut stems submerged in solution to prevent dehydration.
Right. Using that 500 milliliter cup filled with their mother recipe solution.
With the bottom 1.5 to 4 centimeters of the stem submerged 25 cuts per cup for 1 to 2 hours.
It's clear that they've thought of everything.
They're not just giving you the tools, they're giving you the knowledge and confidence to use them effectively.
Absolutely. It's about empowering growers to make informed decisions and achieve success.
And speaking of empowering growers, let's move on to one of the most fascinating sections of the handbook, tissue culture.
Oh yeah, that's the stuff of science fiction. But Athena is making it a reality for everyday growers.
It's incredible how they've demystified this complex technique.
Okay, so we've got the Athena Tissue Culture Kit with the portable flow hood, tools, and instructions. But I'm guessing there's more to it than just having the equipment.
Definitely, they outline a complete tissue culture procedure, starting with media preparation.
Ah, yes. The media, that nutrient-rich gel that supports those tiny plant tissues.
Exactly, and they offer 2 types, roots media for callus formation and starting new mothers.
And shoots media for growing plant tissue, replicating samples, long-term storage, even starting seedlings.
So you've got options depending on what you want to achieve.
That's awesome. And they've simplified the media prep with pre-mixed formulas.
Just add water, 1 pack of 125 milliliter of either shoots or roots media powder with filtered water up to the 125 millimole mark in the media vessel.
Okay, so we shake it up until it's dissolved, easy peasy.
And then comes a sterilization that's crucial for tissue culture.
And that's where the Athena autoclave comes in, right?
That's right. It's like a mini pressure cooker that gets rid of all those unwanted microbes.
So we've got our sterile media and tools. Now what?
Next is plant prep.
So we're selecting and sterilizing plant nodes, those little sections of stem, with the genetic material.
Exactly. You're extracting the building blocks of the plant.
It's like plant surgery.
It does feel that way, and they stress using clean, healthy plant material for the best results.
So again, minimizing the risk of contamination.
Every step is about maintaining that sterile environment.
And then after plant prep, it's lab prep.
Yep. Sterilizing all the tools that will touch the plant material.
Forceps, scalpels, culture vessels, everything needs to be spotless.
Exactly. It's like setting up a mini operating room for your plants.
And then the moment of truth, the transfer.
That's where you introduce the sterilized plant nodes to the sterilized media.
Carefully, precisely.
The handbook has clear instructions and visuals, but it's still a delicate process.
But the results are worth it. I mean, you're creating clean, disease-free plants.
And you can preserve valuable genetics, ensuring those unique strains don't disappear.
It's like backing up your plant DNA.
And you can propagate with incredible consistency. It's really the future of cannabis cultivation.
I can see why they're so passionate about tissue culture.
It's a game changer.
Okay, so we've explored the microscopic world of tissue culture.
What's next on our journey?
Well, the handbook wraps up with designing your own irrigation system.
Ah, yes. For those who want to take things to the next level.
So we're talking about moving beyond hand watering and getting into automated system.
Exactly. They break down the different types from basic setups to dosatrons to more complex systems like Netaflex.
So there's something for everyone.
Right. And they explain the pros and cons of each system so you can choose the one that's right for you.
It's not about having the most expensive system. It's about finding the one that fits your needs and experience.
Absolutely. And once you've chosen, they provide detailed instructions and schematics for setting it up.
It's like having a personal irrigation engineer on call.
And they even help you choose the right size pumps and tanks based on your water and nutrient volume.
This deep dive into the Athena Handbook has been incredible.
I agree. It's packed with so much valuable information.
From nutrients and foliar sprays to cloning, tissue culture, and irrigation systems, it's amazing.
Athena is clearly committed to providing growers with everything they need to succeed.
It's not just about selling products. It's about building a community of knowledgeable and empowered growers.
And that's something I really respect about them.
It's inspiring to see a company that cares so much about its customers and the future of the industry.
Well said. I think we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
Definitely. But there's always more to learn. Stay tuned for the final part, where we'll wrap things up and leave you with some final thoughts to ponder. Back again for part 3 of our Athena Handbook deep dive. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty inspired after all that.
Oh, absolutely. So much to unpack, right? From those super specific nutrient mixes to cloning, mother plants, even tissue culture. And whoa, designing a whole irrigation system.
It's a lot, but it's also, like, really well organized.
Totally. Athena's really trying to create this, like, whole ecosystem. Not just selling you stuff, but giving you the know-how, too.
It's like they're saying, hey, we want you to succeed no matter what.
Exactly. It's about empowering growers at every level. Beginner or pro, the principles are the same.
And they really break it down, step by step. I remember when I started growing, I was so lost. Something like this would have been a lifesaver.
I bet. It's like having that experienced friend walking you through everything.
Right. And they're always there with online resources, that community forum.
Don't forget those grower profiles, like Jay from Big Bang Creations.
Oh, yeah, in Spain. He was raving about the consistency he got with the Pro line, said it was like nothing he'd ever seen.
And he even talked about switching from HPS to LED, soil to rockwool, all using Athena's resources.
See, that's what I mean about community.
Yeah.
Growers helping growers. It's cool.
It's a global thing, too, Not just limited to one area, people sharing knowledge, pushing the industry forward.
Speaking of pushing forward, the future of cannabis is looking pretty bright.
I think so, too. I mean, with companies like Athena out there, giving growers the tools, the education, it's exciting.
Imagine consistent, high-quality cannabis, grown sustainably, accessible to everyone.
That's the dream, right? And it feels achievable.
Definitely. Well, folks, that's about it for our Athena Handbook deep dive. We've covered a ton.
We did, but honestly, we just scratched the surface. There's so much more in that handbook.
We encourage you to grab a copy, dig in, do your own exploration.
Never stop learning.
That's the key. And remember, growing cannabis, it's an art, it's a science. Be precise, stay curious.
Who knows? Maybe your grow will be featured in the next handbook.
Until then, happy growing, everyone.